Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zimet, your State Farm Insurance agent in DeKalb. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in DeKalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zimet and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in DeKalb. Don't forget Kids Eat for Free on Thursday. For delivery or pickup, go to pizzavilla.com or call 815-758-8116. Elder Care Services of DeKalb. Safe, secure, and supported, helping you stay in home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdecalb.org. My Insurance Guy in Sycamore covers Medicare to auto care and everything in between. Stop by at 204 South Main Street in Sycamore. Call 815-899-0950 or online at myinsuranceguy.com. Welcome into TD Ryan Unleashed News Podcast number 30. An honor and privilege to have with us, representing two different areas. It's Ashe Roots. Ashe, of course, when we're talking about the DeKalb Mutual Aid and, of course, the Overnight Warming Center at the Unitarian Universalist Congregational Church. Eventually, that's going to flow off my tongue. Ashe, welcome to the airways. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Again, it's so neat. I was kind of researching here and looking about you're a very active person, Ashe. For all of us that say we don't have time to do stuff, you find time to do stuff, don't you?
I definitely do. I have been pretty lucky to receive lots of help in my life, so now it's my time to pay it forward.
All right, very good. And, of course, we have the oak tree of the news department, Dan Lynch, with us. Well, Dan, how you doing?
Good, but it got dark at noon today.
Yes, it did, and the rain. I guess we need the rain.
Driving here this afternoon, it's dark out.
So, Ashe, tell us, did you grow up in the area? Did you grow up in DeKalb, or where'd you grow up?
I did not. I grew up all over the place. My parents are both Navy veterans,
Okay.
So I have lived in probably 30 different places.
Oh, my gosh.
I've been to 17 different countries by myself in all 50 states.
Have you really?
I have.
Wow.
So I just moved here. It'll be 2 years ago in February. I lived in Rockford for 6 years previous to that. And then before that, I lived in China.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that song they wrote, I've Been Everywhere, man, that was about you.
Yeah,
That song's about you. What was life like in China?
Life was definitely very interesting. I stood out a little bit from all of the Chinese people. So I got a lot of people taking videos of me at all times. There were a lot of people there, but it's a very convenient way of living. So there are apps for everything, and they have a solution to everything. And so it's once you get settled in there, it's quite comfortable.
And what were you doing? What were you doing there?
I taught middle school English to 6th and 7th graders.
Okay.
My Pride and Joy student is now 19 years old and going to the London School of Economics.
Wow.
To study math. So my students are doing well, and I check in with him pretty frequently, but it's cool to hear that I made an impact.
My granddaughter's taking Chinese at her school, and how exciting is that? Because I was telling you, it opened up a whole new world. It opened up a world for you, didn't it? Boy.
It did, absolutely did. I was able to leave the country every couple months and go see other countries in Asia. And I just got to experience a whole new way of life, which really changed the way that I think about things.
Wow. So you obviously dipped your toe in the Kishwaukee River, because they say when you do that, you always come back. Because look at all the places you've been, but you came back here, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Well, that's great. We want to talk to you about the overnight warming centers. But Dan, what do you got for news there, my friend?
DeKalb County Sheriff's deputies responded yesterday to a wreck. This was on 5 Points Road south of Baseline, where a passenger vehicle driven by a 16-year-old teenager from Genoa left the road, overturned, and then trapped the driver underneath the vehicle. Deputies, EMS, and fire personnel, and along with bystanders, lifted the vehicle to free the teen driver, who was apparently not wearing a seatbelt and suffered major injuries. They were taken to KCH, and that crash is the cause is still being investigated.
Well, what a story there with the people helping out like that. Boy, you hear about stories like that all the time, and then it gets like this adrenaline rush and help to get this. But, we had Mark Sykes on that was with us a couple of weeks ago, and he's a driver's ed instructor at DeKalb High School, and we're talking about kids and paying attention, and, I don't know what happened there, but at 16, it's a little scary age there to be I think they limit, you can't have a number of kids in the car now. Do you know the rules now? I think it's right, you have to be driving for a year before you can actually have passengers in the car with you.
Yeah, I think that's been the case for a while.
Has it been? Okay.
I shudder when I think of when I was 16 because I was very immature.
I'm right there with you. I know. Now, did you drive in China? Well, what's the driving like in China? Was it
So much to my mother's dismay, I bought an electric scooter,
Oh, my.
like a little moped, and I drove that all up and down the highways without a helmet. And so I
Is it
had-
more accepted there, the scooters
It
and the
is.
smaller vehicles?
Everyone drives a scooter.
Okay.
Even if you drive a vehicle, you still have a scooter.
Oh.
And that starts at like 11 years old. And so everyone has a scooter. You drive it all over the place. If you're not driving a scooter, then they've really expanded the public transportation in the city that I used to live in. It's called Zhengzhou.
Okay.
And they've really expanded the public transportation there. So they now have 8 metro lines, but at the time they only had 2. So I took that when I could, and then we take Didis everywhere, which are basically the Chinese Ubers.
Okay. Wow. Well, don't tell Dan's kids about that. They're all going on scooters now. Do you have any scooters in the family yet, or no?
They've asked about them.
All right. I figured as much.
Yeah.
They're really fun.
They look fun. They're quiet.
So we're talking to Ashe Roots, and we were talking about the overnight warming center at the Unitarian Universalist Congregational Church. Just to throw some numbers at you, last year, 1,112 individuals were served with food or warm overnight stays. 328 received meals only. 910 stayed overnight, and then there's some other numbers. 2 families stayed overnight, and 1 child was born to a couple while staying there. How about this? Is that right, Ash? I didn't read that bottom part. Wow, tell us about that.
Yeah, we had a couple come in from out of town, and the mom was pretty late in her pregnancy, and so we got her connected with services like 4Cs and a doula in
Okay.
the area, and they were able to help her carry through to the rest of her pregnancy. And she had a sweet little baby boy.
Wow.
So with the warming center, so just to be clear, I'm no longer affiliated with
Right,
the warming
okay.
center, but it is something that I will always be passionate about. And
How did that feel? That must have been magical when if you weren't there, it's like Mary and Joseph. I mean, if you guys weren't there, they didn't have, who knows where they would have gone to have the baby. It's
Exactly. It was, at first, it was a little bit scary. We were wondering what the heck we were going to do. And then we just realized all we can do is support them the best that we can. I actually got to be at the hospital when she delivered the baby. And it was so meaningful to be there, and it was so meaningful to be able to offer her that support while her family was out of town. And so it was just an absolutely beautiful experience, and now they are absolutely thriving.
Wow.
Yep.
What a great story. We talked to our friends from Hope Haven. We know that a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people don't want the help, right? You go and you offer them the shelter, and they say, wait, I'm fine where I'm at. And that's got to be scary, especially with the weather we've had this winter so far.
Right. It has been pretty intense so far. I think for some people, they just get into their comfort zone, into their safe zone. And if that's outside, if that's in their car, that is the place that they feel safe. And so stepping into a new environment can be something that is absolutely terrifying and really hard to break through all of those preconceived notions that they have. They could potentially be setting themselves up for failure. They're setting themselves up for all of these risks when they step outside of their comfort zone. And I think that is definitely a barrier to getting into housing.
That really explains it well there. That really does. Wow. And again, now you're looking for volunteers. And again, I know you're not with them anymore, but tell us about the volunteer opportunities, because I see you made this post here. Different shifts, right, from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m., then 5 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. And tell us about that and how people can volunteer, please.
So last year, I was told by several people that it is the most meaningful and best volunteer work that they've ever done.
Wow.
So I'll preface with that.
Okay.
The 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. shift, you serve dinner and help clean up from dinner. You get everyone settled for bed. You may do some light activities with the guests, but you're welcoming everybody in and making sure that they're comfortable, that they understand the rules and expectations, and that they just feel welcome. So that is the primary goals and expectations for the 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. shift. For the 9 p.m. to 1 p.m. shift, you're making sure that, or 9 p.m.
right.
to 1 a.m. shift, you're making sure that everybody is getting into bed, everybody has their cots set up, everybody's being quiet, and just kind of helping things to mellow down. From 1 a.m. to 5 p.m., you're just kind of doing your own thing in the office. You can bring your laptop and work on homework. You can bring books. Last year we had somebody crochet many, many, many scarves and hats. And it's really just maintaining the environment and making sure that everything is safe. You're never by yourself. You're always paired with a second volunteer for the first shift, it's 4 volunteers, and for the rest of the shift, it's 2 volunteers. So you're always paired with someone, which makes it feel a little bit safer and a little bit more comfortable.
Right.
If there's a difficult situation, you can bounce those ideas off of someone else of how to handle it. And then from 5 a.m. to about 8 a.m. or 8:30 a.m., you're waking everybody up, you're setting the tone for the day, you're putting out breakfast, you're helping people pack lunches for the day, and then you're getting them out the door, which is sometimes a struggle because they want to dilly-dally. But so you're helping scoot them out the door and reassuring them that, hey, we're going to see you later today and we can't wait.
That's awesome. Now, how can they set up? Just to go to the website, Universal?
So you can go to the Universalist or Unitarian Universalist Congregation of
See, it doesn't
DeKalb
flow off the tongue,
website. There is also a Facebook page, which I believe is Overnight Warming Center at UUCD, where they have all of the information. There are links to sign up. There is a Sign Up Genius page. They're also looking for meal donations. So you can sign up for either 1 part or all 4 parts of the meal, which is a vegetable, a main dish, a dessert, and a drink. And you can sign up for meals on there. You can, on the separate sign-up sheet, you can sign up to be a volunteer for whichever shift you would prefer. And then they have a great training program to help you feel more comfortable and help you understand the rules. So they'll provide that to you once you reach out.
All right, very good. Well, thank you for covering that too, and God bless you guys and the people that got that started again, because who knows how many lives you saved, or at least altered lives like that. That's great. All right, Dan, what do you got for news, my friend?
City of DeKalb is seeking your input on its yearly draft action plan for the Community Development Block Grant Program. So it's a federal program, and the money is designed to improve access to affordable housing and expand economic opportunities for people who are low income or moderate income. City leaders expect to get $400,000 for this coming year, and that begins in April. Residents can review the plan at the city website, City Hall, or at the DeKalb Library. Written comments are due January 26th to Jennifer Yoakum with the city. She's the Community Services Coordinator. And then the City Council that night will hold a public hearing to talk about the plan, January 26th. That starts at 6.
And Ash, you know how many wonderful nonprofits we have in the area, but obviously they need to be funded, and then we got to break down the numbers, right, at this point.
Absolutely. And we have so many wonderful opportunities in this city. I've had the opportunity to work with DeKalb County Community Foundation, as well as Jennifer Yoakum. And
You smiled when Dan said her name.
I am Jennifer Yoakum's biggest fangirl. I think that she's so cool. Yeah, there are so many opportunities in this city, both to get involved and to receive support. And I am just so grateful to be a part of it. I think it's such a cool network.
Very well put there. Now, we have a new superintendent, DeKalb School Superintendent, District 422. You're going to say the name, Dan, because I didn't understand how you say that. You say Billy
Huermo.
Huermo. And you said that's a diphthong?
Yeah, didn't you take Spanish?
I know I didn't. What's a diphthong? I thought that's something you wear by the pool, the diphthong.
I think when you take 2 consonants and you blend them together.
Oh, is that it? Okay, so say his name one more time.
Huermo.
Huermo. Okay, we have a new superintendent. Very exciting. Now, his first day on the job will be July 1st. He will be replacing Minerva Garcia Sanchez, who remains under contract till June 30th. Got a unanimous approval this week. Position for 3 years through 2029. Salary $215,000 a year. Also receive employee health insurance benefits. 20 working days paid vacation, 15 sick days, and 4 personal leave days as well. But will be subject to an annual performance review. And my favorite story about this one, he's when he received the news here and he started crying, he's fighting back tears. Huermo gave a special shout out to his mom and said, quote, "It's hard not to cry with mom here. Thank you, thank you." So wonderful that his mom got to see that, and he broke down with mom being there. That was great.
That's a major position.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And we on the show, what was it, 3 weeks ago, we talked about the high school graduation rates, and unfortunately we said the listing all in DeKalb County, and Sycamore was 95.1. I remember Indian Creek was 90 something. But DeKalb was 81%. DeKalb was 80%, so it's much lower there. So hopefully we can start to turn that around. And Ash, now you obviously have had a very extensive education with the. Did you Were you always excelling in school, or how'd you do in school?
I actually had an IEP in school throughout my K through 12. I really struggled with mental health and some other things that were going on. And so I received lots of support through the school system. And eventually my school paid for me to go to a boarding school in Chicago.
Is that right?
And I received incredible support. And that really changed the trajectory of my life. I don't have a college degree.
Well, you have a world degree, that's for sure.
I do. I have a world degree. I have been blessed to get lots and lots of life experience, both positive and negative experience, which all culminates into the person that I am now. So school was actually really a struggle for me, and it was hard for me to graduate. But with the support that I received and the services that were offered to me, I was able to turn things around and succeed in life.
Really? Wow, great story there. I don't know if you know this, a part of my payment for Dan every week is a book that his kids, he's got the 6 kids at home. And I just read about Jane Addams now, and you said the boarding house in Chicago, and that made me think about the Hull House in Chicago with Jane Addams. And what a wonderful lady. I love these little biographies because, we adults read them, and I see the Jane Addams memorial here and there, but not realizing what all she did. So that's great. So
she's an amazing person.
Yeah.
Or she was an amazing person. I'm fascinated with the history of Chicago, and I think that the Hull House is it was such a cool program.
Yeah, and she wanted to put for folks that don't know, she wanted to put a big fancy house in the middle of the ghetto, if you would, or the bad neighborhood, if you would, and invite people to come there.
And there were everybody from laborers to pregnant teens to different migrants from all over the country, and people with storied pasts, and everybody was welcome there. And it really helped people to get back on their feet.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm glad you know everything, for guys. Tell me you haven't been to school, for Christ's sake. All right, now, Dan, what else you got for news?
A Sycamore man was arrested for violating a no stalking contact order. According to the Sycamore PD, Jack Zills was arrested December 18th. Police say the victim found several screws in a shared driveway back in early December. Investigators later found that Zills had driven by the home that day. And then in 2024, police took several reports of criminal property damage and theft at that same address, leading to Zills being arrested and charged in July of 24 after officers say they caught him throwing a substance onto the lawn.
What was the thing with the screws? What was that? The screws in the driveway?
Well,
did he take something and just left the screws?
I think he left them. They threw them there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Maybe to generate flat tire.
I was thinking that. All right.
A shared driveway, too. Following that arrest, Zills was issued a civil no stalking order.
But they live right next to each other, don't they? It's a shared driveway.
Well, it doesn't say that, but apparently he knows the person.
I watch a lot of Judge Judy, and you don't want to have a shared driveway. I can tell you that right now. Inevitably, something will come up with whether it be to parking or something like that.
I almost bought a house with a shared driveway.
Did you really? Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be telling stories right now. And I see the St. Mary's Hospital in DeKalb, the old former St. Mary's, getting a new life. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Dan, but now I guess the city council, back in 2022, greenlighted the plan, but then he wanted more information. He wants to build 32 apartments there.
Wow.
I didn't realize it used to be St. Mary's Hospital. It was also a girls' dormitory for a while, and administrative offices for DeKalb School District before it sat vacant all this time. And I think it's great that somebody wants to do something about that. The plans include a tenant lounge, exercise room, and outdoor patio, plus parking lot with carports. They were going to do a rooftop patio, but they had to nix that there. But what do you think about it? I just love that this old building that's been sitting empty so long, that somebody wants to do something with it. They got to jump through some more hoops.
As long as the building has good bones, I guess.
Yeah.
It sounds like quite a project.
It really does. And they're also, we'll talk about another one. They're also proposing a new, we're talking about our farmland getting eaten up. But now let me get your opinion on this, Ashe. They're proposing now a pivot traveling center. Roughly 114 acres of property on the southeast corner of Peace Road and Fairview Drive. That's right out there as you get on 88 there. And that's a lot of land. 114 acres is going to be one of those big truck stops, gas stations. Do you want that in your area?
I don't know. It's something I would have to think on. I think that it would bring in a lot of traffic
Yes.
And bring in a lot of income to the city.
That's true.
But eating up that farmland is obviously not ideal.
No.
And we need to protect as much natural land as we have in the area. So that's definitely something I would have to think about.
Yeah, we just had, the 560-acre solar farm there, which I was talking to the candidate running for office, and he said that that land may or may not be the same as it was, when they take the panels away. So,
Well, yeah, it will take time.
yeah.
to
And then
bring
we
it.
have some of the best farmland in the country. So, all right, we'll just leave that at that. What else you got there, Daniel?
LRS, Lakeshore Recycling Systems. They're conducting a special pickup of Christmas trees, real Christmas trees.
What about all the leaves that got frozen in my front yard? We didn't anything about that?
Now through January 12th, put it on the curb. This is for DeKalb and Cortland, since LRS has contracts for those two towns. So trees with tinsel, lights, glitter, wire, shiners, or in plastic bags will not be accepted.
So don't put them in plastic bags, okay?
Yeah, just leave the tree. If they put them in plastic bags, that counts as your large item, your once-a-week large item.
Oh, is that where we get that? Yeah. I had a giant beanbag chair that my grandson had brought over, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this thing? And I put it out there, and either they took it or somebody came along and took it.
Well, that's true.
Who's got it? But that's great. I didn't know we get one large item a week. It's good to know.
Light bulbs should be removed from both live and artificial trees, if you're scrapping an artificial tree. DeKalb residents with questions can call LRS 815-770-7550.
And a warning, there's always one ornament that's somehow hidden inside. They always find that one ornament there at the end. We're visiting with Ashe Roots is visiting with us today, and now the executive director of DeKalb Mutual Aid. I have a definition here, which it says mutual aid is the practice of volunteering reciprocal exchanges of resources and assistance between members of the community. DeKalb Mutual Aid, Inc. specializes in distributing donated goods between residents in the DeKalb area, as well as referring people to existing resources. So tell us about that and this wonderful organization.
So we have changed our mission statement a little bit recently
Okay.
to more align with the projects that we're focusing on these days. We still want to distribute goods and different supplies that we have, but we're looking to cut that down so that we're not replicating services that are already in the community.
Right.
FSA has a community shoebox, and they have their community pantry, and there's always Rooted for Good, and there's so many great resources in the city that we don't want to duplicate those efforts. We want to uplift those efforts and help get people connected with them. So what we're focusing on now is strengthening the community through different programs that we are working on grants for. So that's pretty exciting.
So you know about the grant writing. I know that's
we
a
know
pleasure.
about it. I spent the last couple nights working pretty hard on a couple grants that I just got approved to submit today. So that's pretty exciting.
I bet.
So we're working on building those programs. We have a senior pen pal program coming out. We're working with Barb City Manor to get seniors connected with people in the community to help.
Like younger people, or what a neat idea.
Yeah, all different ages. I think we have a 7-year-old. We have people in their 50s and 60s who just want to be connected. We have a wide range of everybody.
Nothing like getting a letter in the mail. It's a
Exactly.
special moment. It's exciting.
Well, and one of the exciting things about the program is that we did win a grant through DeKalb County Community Foundation so that we can provide stationery and stamps.
Oh, great.
So it all is just about participation. There's no cost included to participate. We just did our World of Thanks meal for Thanksgiving, and we had about 300 people come to that.
And tell us where you held that.
We held that at McCabe's.
I know. What a guy.
They opened up the doors
that
for
building,
us and
yeah.
welcomed us in, and at no cost to us, which was an incredible blessing. And they helped arrange everything. We had a DJ, we had games, we had coloring stuff for kids, we had tables and chairs, obviously. And then we had 20 different restaurants, each donate a dish.
Oh, my gosh.
So that nobody had to bear the burden of creating a meal for 300 people on their own.
Right. So you had 300 people.
We did.
Wow.
300 plus. We did not keep track, but if we all did a couple estimates, and we all came to the same estimate based on how many tables were filled and how much food we went through. And So yeah,
What a magical night that must have been, because to see that old building come to life again, and then for that reason, it's even better.
yeah. To be honest, I had to take a couple breaks to cry
I
because I
bet.
was so beautifully overwhelmed.
Well, that's great. So now, I have here how people can help here. For instance, collecting donations. Let's go through these. Collecting donations. How can people do it?
So we're not so much.
Oh, sorry, you're
collecting
not doing it anymore. Okay,
donations
that's right.
anymore. We're working on closing our storage unit as we speak.
Okay, because like you said, you don't want to duplicate what other people are doing. Yeah.
Correct. But you can always get connected through our Facebook group, DeKalb Mutual Aid. We also have a Discord, which you can find through our Facebook group. And we always post different opportunities. So we've had things such as somebody needed help with doing the dishes. They had broken their hand and they had gotten behind on dishes. And so somebody put that need out and we had a couple volunteers offer to help. We have a zine, handcrafted magazine, basically. And we have a zine team who works to create that. And so we need help with that.
Okay.
We need help for our events. And
Well, here, I'll
so-
quote, this is Ashe Roots quote, "There's always work to be done. There's always ways to help people, especially when you've lost everything. This is not an overnight fix." So like you said, it's a constant need. Isn't it?
Exactly. It's a constant need. It's all about making connections and reciprocating that care. So if you are able to help after you've received help, that's fantastic. It's not mandatory. But we want to invite you in to be a participant of that.
And you're like, you're like a Vidalia onion. Vidalia onions are so good that you can eat them like an apple. Because not only have you done all the stuff you talked about already, but you work for Amy Burrell, right, as well? You were working for her campaign. Tell us about that.
I worked for Amy. I did her social media for 6 months.
Okay.
It was when the warming center ended. It was such a fun experience. And she's really cool to work for. She's very involved in the community and really cares about what she's doing. And so it was such a fun passion project, but I had also started my full-time job at the time. And then I had the opportunity to take over DeKalb Mutual Aid. So unfortunately, I had to make sacrifices and leave that role.
Okay.
But it was very fun.
Well, and she got elected, so something went right there.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
I tell you, like a sweet onion, just keep laying layers of Ashe Roots here. What else you got? You got another news story, Dan?
Illinois Department of Public Health says flu activity is very high, which is the most severe of the 5 respiratory illness activity levels as defined by the CDC. Illinois reported its first influenza death in a child this season after reporting 12 pediatric deaths last season. The department says COVID-19 rates have climbed to moderate levels.
But now,
You been sick yet this year?
no, but all people all around me have been, which is
Oh.
kind of scary there. Because my grandkids, we had to cancel Christmas because they tested positive for COVID, which I didn't even know. They went and got the COVID test, and 2 of them tested positive
Oh.
for it. And I didn't realize, you don't hear that mentioned much anymore. But the flu just seems to be crazy this year.
Yeah.
Now, do you do the flu shot, Ash? Do you do that?
I do get a flu shot.
Okay.
To me, it's important to protect my neighbors.
Oh, that's right. And you're working with people.
Yeah, I live alone. There's not much risk to myself, but the people that I surround myself with are usually at risk.
Uh-huh.
And so it's my duty to protect them.
And Dan, not to get too delve into this, but I was watching Bobby Kennedy, our health minister, talking about the number of shots the kids get. Now, do your kids have a lot of shots? Do they get a lot of shots? You just said little Blaze not too long ago. Did Blaze get loaded up with a lot of shots?
Yeah, I mean, there was...
Isn't that a cool name for his kid, Blaze? What
That's
that
a
name?
cool name.
I mean, there are some we declined, but I forget.
Okay, so you decide. The parents decide, I'll do this. I'll take the mumps and rubella, but I'm not going to do this.
Right, we got DTaP.
What's DTaP? What's that?
That's for like tetanus.
Okay. So like a tetanus shot.
Yeah, but there's
Right.
a whole slew of them. I mean, I think the U.S. has a lot more requirements than Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, they had some chart. They were comparing the two. Yeah.
But what's the one? There was one controversial one about that.
I'm not sure. All right, we got to move on. But again, the parents have the option, though, right?
Yeah, you
decide.
just tell them at the hospital, because they get a lot of them right when the baby's 15 minutes old.
Really? Okay. Well, that's soon. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good to know. DeKalb rallies draws dozens against U.S. military operations in Venezuela over there at Hopkins Park. Lots of over there. We're out there at the intersection of First and Lincoln Highway. What do you think, Ash? It's great to see people. Protesting is great. It's all part of our country, too. I know how much is going to get accomplished. The gentleman here is quoted as saying, I think it's important to keep showing up and saying that things aren't normal when they aren't normal. I think it's important to call things what they really are and to remind it to folks that they maybe aren't paying very close attention, that things are straying and changing rapidly. And my understanding was, my wife, wasn't on Facebook today, there was a ICE incident here in DeKalb, over on, I want to say 6th Street.
Today?
Yeah, this morning.
Oh.
Apparently. Big trucks and...
I think that they found out that it wasn't ICE. It was just
really?
police
Okay.
activity.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you for that. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't want to start any rumors here at all. That's what I was wondering, because it was
Yeah.
on Facebook. So, but again, that's scary stuff, indeed.
Yeah.
But good to see people out protesting. Good to know.
Well,
It's America, baby.
Martin Luther King Jr., civil disobedience.
There you go. Gandhi, right?
Yeah. Free to country without war.
There you go. Or you got one more news story? Or are you newsed out? It's all right if you are.
I think I hit them all.
All right.
Actually.
Coming up here in 2 weeks, we'll be hearing from a candidate. DeKalb County will see just one primary race in November general election. There will be a County Board District number 5 with 2 Democrats, Daniel Van Tilburg, who I talked to yesterday of DeKalb, and Devin Wilcox of Cortland. Both filed. District 5 covers Cortland, along with parts of DeKalb and Maple Park. And you were endorsing Devin, right, Ash? Tell us why you were endorsing Devin Wilcox.
So I met Devin through one of the organizations that he leads. He's a part of DeKalb Migrant Aid, and the way that he has.
Now, not to interrupt you, but there's DeKalb Migrant Aid. There's another organization I didn't know we had.
Yes.
Okay.
So they teach a lot about how to respond if ICE is in the area, how to help your neighbors without causing an even bigger crisis. And they just do a lot of education. And Devin really thoughtfully works on these programs. And he is really passionate about listening to the community as well as serving the community. And I think that listening aspect is really important.
Yes.
He's deeply ingrained in everything that he can get involved in. And I just think that he is a great guy.
Well, what's great is he and Daniel are friends. I was talking about they have no animosity towards each other at all. It's going to be a very clean campaign here.
What's funny is that I endorsed Devin before I knew that Dan was running. And so I'm also friends with Daniel. And so I asked him to explain his campaign a little bit to me so that I can be educated on that as well. And, advocate both ways. Either way, we're going to get a fantastic candidate.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's a win-win there.
But I'd love to be able to provide education on both candidates.
Very good. That's a great answer there. That's time now for a community calendar brought to you by Stagecoach Players Theater. You go to stagecoachplayers.com. Find out what we're talking about. 815-758-1940. Some great shows coming up. Gypsy, The Play That Goes Wrong, The Man Who Came to Dinner, Bonnie and Clyde. Yeah, would you spend some time at the theater?
Unfortunately, I have not yet. I grew up in the theater.
I thought you were a theater person. Okay.
I was a theater girly. I have a little theater flair to myself. I love the theater, and I have not made it to a Stagecoach Players show yet.
All right, well, tune in. If you're listening to this podcast, we give away tickets. We don't have the tickets yet, but the next show we'll have tickets for, and that'll be Gypsy. So we'll find out. We get tickets from Tim Ball over there at the Stagecoach. We appreciate them for sponsoring the community calendar. Journey Foreigner Tribute Band at the Egyptian Theater. 2 bands that we used to call that wuss rock back in the day. Jukebox Hero, I like for
Steve
Foreigner.
Perry's voice. Come
Steve
on.
Perry, I know. I
Is
get it.
awesome.
Thoughts on Journey and the Foreigner?
I love me some Journey.
Okay, all right, well, we're good. So this would be good for you. And they're great. Some of these cover bands are just unbelievable, too.
Oh, they're so good.
And they did have many, many hits. So you can't, deny that, dude. Foreigner, they'll play hits like Feels Like the First Time, Don't Stop Believing, Urgent, Lights and Cold as Ice, and Who's Crying Now, amongst others there. And, of course, Journey, you can list a few. You name a few, Dan.
Separate Ways.
There you go. Some of those rock
Open
ballads.
Arms. Yeah.
All right. 5 things to do in DeKalb County. You can take a hike. I've been told to do that in the Shabana Woods. Taylor Swift experience at the Sandwich Opera House. Now, my wife and I were there this summer. Have you been to the Sandwich Opera House? It's just
Not.
Oh,
I
it's
didn't
just
even know it existed.
Oh, it's a beautiful building right there in the heart of Sandwich, and they got a Taylor Swift tribute band coming. Now, why not? Why not take advantage of that? I don't know if there's one girl playing Taylor Swift or how they do this, but have you been caught up in the Swiftomania?
Here and there. I hate to admit it.
I know, I like some of her songs, I have to admit it.
But I've grown up alongside her. We're the same age,
Okay.
and so to see the growth, and she brings joy to people. So it's hard to not be infected by
Right,
that.
exactly. I like that answer. Super Sundays there at the Glidden Homestead. The Super Sundays series begins January 11th. The Restoring Heritage, the Glidden Barn Revival. The program begins at noon, includes soup and homestead tours, a $5 admission for that. So you probably know Jessie LaRue, right?
Yep.
Over there at the homestead. She does such a great job getting words out. So have a little soup there on Sunday. Dinosaur Dimension Exposition at Sandwich. Again, the Sandwich Opera House will host a family-friendly show that brings audience up close to dinosaurs on January 16th and January 17th as well. Now, you kids into dinosaurs?
They went through a stage.
I was going to say, my grandkids did, but then they kind of got out of the dinosaur stage. But they always know what all of them are, whatever Rex, and he can name all the dinosaurs.
I think I'm still in the dinosaur stage.
Are you? Well, you'll enjoy this. That'll be January 17th. And then we mentioned the Clash of the Tribute Bands coming, Journey versus Foreigner. So who would you pick, Journey versus Foreigner? Sounds like you're leaning towards Journey.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Jukebox Hero right now.
That is a jam. I will give you that. You too?
I'm gonna be a Journey girl.
All right.
Yeah.
And then finally, Whiskey Acres, want to congratulate them. They were named Whiskey Acres named the distillery to top prize for second consecutive year. Whiskey Acres, where the corn is grown, harvested, and distilled on site, once again, earned the top honors for the Heartland Whiskey Competition at Best in State in Illinois. You know, I brought this up one of our podcasts here, and what did Dan say about Whiskey Acres? I couldn't get a beer there, right? You were complaining that you couldn't get a beer.
This was so gauche and embarrassing, but I ordered a beer when I went there, and they looked at me
Like you're at Whiskey Acres,
what
man.
are you
Come on.
doing?
It's okay. I asked for a food menu the last time I was there, and they looked at me the same way.
All right.
It's a nice place.
Oh, yeah, it really. And they've
top
grown so
shelf.
much. Yeah, they've really done well there. It's okay. God bless them. Sports, just a quick look at Sycamore basketball. We'd like to pick one team. Sycamore boys basketball team, Isaiah Fairbox, scored 28 points as Spartan picked up a non-conference win over Woodstock North. Josiah Mitchell had 17 points. Marcus Johnson, 11 for the Spartans. And also Johnson had 10 rebounds and 6 assists. Josh and Cole Latimer, of course, Cole Latimer, star on the DeKalb football team as well as star on the DeKalb baseball team, is going to play football and baseball at Northern Illinois University, Division I school. So he will be our guest on Monday. And his dad is his coach on the baseball team at DeKalb High School. So how cool is that? So he will be our guest on Monday for our podcast. So, and of course, the Bears in Green Bay. Dan, you always have a thought on that. What's your thought on that?
I'm just happy there's a meaningful game being played this time of year.
Isn't that something? I know.
Because for the Bears, that never happens.
Ash, you a big Bear fan? Are you?
Sports are not my thing.
As a matter of fact, we started talking sports. Ash went right to her phone. She went right to that. But that's all right. It's not for everybody. And then let's take a look at the obits now. Again, we do that because, when Dan and I worked at the radio station, people had to pay money to get their obits on the radio. And we always thought that was not good. So we just do it here, and we always pick out so many wonderful people. Dolores Schrader, we lost it. Dolores was 95 from Shabana. She grew up in Shabana area. High school sweetheart Daniel, she married back in 1949. They were together until 2011. She helped run the family business Vacationland RV in Big Rock, Illinois. For more than 40 years, summer weekends were spent at their Lake Delavan, Wisconsin. That's where my family had a cottage there. Dolores was calm, a fierce competitor. Even at the age of 95, she was still winning games at her favorite board game, Aggravation. Now, do you guys remember Aggravation? It sounds familiar, but I can't.
It rings a bell, but I can't think of it.
I can't think of the game, though, but she was still, she was a gifted storyteller, regaling her family with famous tales of 3 miles walk to school, which according to her was uphill both ways, an animal lover at heart. She adored her family pets and spent years caring for local cats that visited her back porch. And then at the end, we've been doing these obits now for about 6 months. People put a lot of levity in their obits, and at the end it says, a private celebration life is being planned for her family, a future date. See you later, alligator. So probably something that she always said, and they put that in there. See you later, alligator. And Sandy Perina, age 91, went to Christopher Columbus High School in the Bronx in 1951. Wow. Doesn't that sound like a movie? 1951, the Bronx in a high school in downtown. But amazing. I could go on and have a Master of Science Education at Northern Illinois University. But here's the interesting part, Dan. Before entering teaching profession, Sandra wrote jingles for the WICS radio station in Madison as a copy chief, and was assistant editor for the Wisconsin Farm Bureau. as well.
No kidding.
There were anybody who wrote a jingle? You know, what was it?
No.
The show, 2.5 Men? Isn't he supposed to be a jingle writer?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
but I've never.
Richard Marx' father.
Oh, Richard Marx, yeah.
famous jingle writer.
Oh, really? Okay. How about that? And during the Vietnam War, Sandra was active in the local Women's Committee on Concerns on Vietnam, working on activities as such through October 15th, 1969. So just another amazing lady. And yes, we have these wonderful people. It's sad to acknowledge them after they're gone. But I was telling Dan, you know, Ash, to capture somebody's life in a couple of paragraphs, it's like you. I don't know how they're going to capture your life, what you've done already.
Yeah, people are going to get sick of the story before they finish it.
And finally, I'd like to do birthdays. Dan's going to do a news quiz here in just a moment, and again, you a chance to win. Now, we don't have tickets for the Egyptian Theater yet, but we'll have that, or the Stagecoach Players Theater. But we do have a deluxe car wash from Ralph's Full Service Car Wash and Detail Center. Again, a $35 value. Plus, we have 2 gift certificates of Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more when you play the news podcast news quiz. But first, let me acknowledge a couple of birthdays. Kim Stockel will have a birthday. Well, just had a birthday on the 3rd in Cortland. Bev Atkinson will celebrate in Genoa on the 16th. And Jessica Talley will have a birthday in Genoa on the 17th. All right, Dan, you got a news quiz question? What do you got?
City of DeKalb is seeking your input on its yearly draft action plan for the community development block grant program.
Easy for you to say.
It's due January 26th.
Which is also the 40th anniversary of the Bears winning the Bowl.
So it's due on the 26th. And you present it to this City of DeKalb staffer. She is the Community Services Coordinator. What is her name?
All right, you know. She's smiling already. All right, so if you know that, contact us at talkwithtdryan@gmail.com, talkwithtdryan@gmail.com. If you have the correct answer, we'll get you that gift certificate to Ralph's Full Service Car Wash and 2 gift certificates to Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more. Again, you know, Ash, it's just amazing to get to know you. You know, as Dan was asking me how I'm liking doing these podcasts, and I told him, you get to know people so much better than when you do a little 10-minute interview on the radio station. And to look into your history, it's just amazing what you've done and where you've been and how you continue to give back. And how do you find yourself at all the wonderful places that you've lived that you're back here in DeKalb?
So my apartment in Rockford burned down 2 years
Oh,
ago.
gosh.
And my boyfriend lives in Sycamore. And so I decided that I was done with my Rockford adventure when the fire happened. I felt like it was a curse, but it was also a blessing. It set me free. And so I decided it was time for a new adventure, and I moved here and realized how deep I could get involved in the community, and here we are.
Well, we're very great. I know I speak for the community when I thank you for all you've done, and I know you will continue to do, so thank you for that. Remind people now, if they want to help out with the mutual aid, what's the best way to contact you or be a help?
Contact us at our Facebook group, DeKalb Mutual Aid.
That's that easy, DeKalb Mutual Aid.
Yep.
Very good. And then, of course, Universalist, Church.
Unitarian Universalist
What you
Congregation
said.
of DeKalb. Check out their website or look at the Overnight Warming Center at UUCD Facebook page, and they will have all the links for you to get involved.
Fantastic. Dan, we always give Dan the final word. Dan, what do you got there?
Happy New Year, 2026.
There you go.
Didn't
That's
think
right.
I'd make it.
Let's make it the best one ever. Again, our thanks to Ashe Roots. And that's TD Ryan Unleashed News Podcast number 30.